On Monday, January 2nd, 2023, the unthinkable happened. At a primetime Monday night game that would define playoff contention, Damar Hamlin suffered a hit that would unexpectedly finish the game. The game ended that night, not with a win or a loss, but a CPR knockout that left everyone wondering if the beloved football player would even survive. Within minutes, an entertaining Monday night football game with playoff atmosphere transformed into a serious life-or-death situation that left fans feeling like they were attending a funeral or witnesses at a crime scene. Before we explain what actually happened medically to Damar Hamlin and his current health status, we would be remiss if we didn't mention that Damar Hamlin isn't the only one. These are the scariest football injuries that Roger Goodell and the NFL elite hope you never see. Joe Theisman. On November 18, 1985, Super Bowl winning quarterback and former NFL MVP Joe Theisman was 10 games into another season in contention for winning it all. Their division rivals, the New York Giants, however, were in town and had other ideas. Early in the second quarter, the game was tied 7-7, and the Redskins wanted to score badly. The team had their struggles through the year and decided to pull a new trick out of their hat to try to put points on the board. The play was a flea flicker. Joe thought LT, as he was called, is arguably the greatest defensive player to ever play the game. This sack machine had his target set on the 36-year-old quarterback, and the slow developing play had not slowed him down. So bad that Lawrence Taylor apologized repeatedly for it. Not because the play was dirty, but because of the tragic result. Theisman's leg never grew back properly, and the quarterback would never play another snap again. Darryl Stingley, Buffalo Bills wide receiver, took to the field in a preseason game against the Oakland Raiders in a contract year. Little did he know that while he was trying to get his football legs underneath him, Jack Tatum was out there soul hunting. Tatum, nicknamed the Assassin, was the starting free safety and would soon deliver the hit to end the career of Darryl Stingley, who was slated to become the highest paid player in the league after his contract negotiations that year. Stingley was throwing a pass over the middle on a slate route, and Tatum, like a heat-seeking missile, spears him in the helmet, and Darryl Stingley fell to the ground. Those steps across the middle would be the last steps he took for the rest of his life. Stingley laid there paralyzed. The hit not only compressed his spinal cord, but also broke his fourth and fifth vertebrae. Years later, Stingley would die from heart disease and pneumonia that were complicated by the quadriplegia. Tatum, famous for his involvement in the Immaculate Reception, never apologized or demonstrated any remorse to Darryl Stingley whatsoever. Although friends said the hit affected Tatum emotionally as well, in an interview with Chris Carter, Jack Tatum said, "I will never apologize for how I played the game." Chuck Hughes. Shortly after Damar Hamlin's injury in Cincinnati, announcers Troy Aikman and Joe Buck said that they had never seen anything like this before. But longtime Detroit sports writer Jack Barry, along with many Lions fans in Detroit, have a memory equally as tragic. Chuck Hughes, wide receiver and special teams player, number 85, literally dropped dead in the middle of an NFL game. On October 25, 1971, going into the fourth quarter, the Detroit Lions were hosting and trailing the Bears 28-23. After the 2-minute warning, the Lions were frantically trying to get a touchdown and win the game. Hughes makes a spectacular clutch catch for a gain of 32 yards, moving the ball to the Bears' 37-yard line. On third down, after 2 incomplete passes thrown by the Lions, QB Craig Landry threw a pass that was dropped near the goal line by the tight end Charles Sanders. The disappointment of the incompletion would pale in comparison to the tragedy that would come next. That's because when Chuck Hughes headed back to the huddle after the incompletion, he suddenly collapsed at the feet of Dick Butkus, who frantically started calling for the training staff. That's when the convulsion started. The medical staff came on the field and started pumping on Hughes' chest, trying to revive him with no success. He was soon loaded up on a stretcher and hurried off the field as his lifeless arm limply bounced around, hanging off of the side of the stretcher. Chuck Hughes had died on the football field from acute coronary thrombosis. The game was resumed and was finished with no event or celebration. Hughes' funeral was held a week later in San Antonio, Texas. Ryan Shazier. Ryan Shazier took the NFL by storm. A defensive phenom playing on the Pittsburgh Steelers, a franchise known for terrible towels and the steel curtain, was proven to be a star. He had aspirations to be the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year 12 games into the 2017 season. On a Monday night game on December 4, 2017, the same field that saw Damar Hamlin's scary injury last Monday added another body to the count of fallen players in Cincinnati. A career-ending injury demonstrated that in the NFL, those who deliver the big hits can be just in as much danger as those receiving them. 4 minutes into the game, Bengals receiver Josh Malone catches a pass, and Shazier comes up and smashes his head into Malone for what seems like a pretty routine tackle. Instantly after hitting the ground, Ryan Shazier grabbed his back and rolled over, writhing in pain. Moments later, he was carted off the field, reporting that he was unable to feel his legs. Shazier was left paraplegic and given only a 20% chance of ever walking again. 2 days later, he underwent spinal stabilization surgery and was forced to relearn how to walk again. After 2 years on the Steelers physically unable to perform this, Shazier retired from the NFL and never played another game again. Let's get back to the worst injury we have ever seen as we consider the latest update from the Damar Hamlin CPR incident on January 2nd, 2023. Before we get to that, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you found this video interesting and want to see more like this one. The Damar Hamlin injury. On Monday night, January 2nd, 2023, the Bills vs. Bengals matchup wasn't going to just be the game of the week. It would be the game of the year. It lived up to the billing, but for a very different reason than football. The class of the NFL was playing on national television, and all the football fans in the country were glued to the television set. The game started off exciting. Joe Burrow took the Cincinnati Bengals right up the field and scored a touchdown. The Bills retaliate with a field goal, and on the next Bengals possession is when the tragedy strikes. T. Higgins catches a 13-yard pass. Damar Hamlin comes over to make the tackle in a play that looks like anything that can be seen 20 times in any other football game. What happened next had never been seen before. Damar Hamlin stands up after the hit and then falls down completely lifeless. We've seen this before. Guys make big hits, they get up, and then collapse. Except usually they are writhing in pain or waving to the sideline for help. This was not the case with Hamlin. When he fell to the ground, it was a lifeless fall. It was like watching someone's soul leave their body. Moments later, both training staffs were on the field administering CPR, while players formed a human wall to try to protect Hamlin's privacy as he was going between life and death. Soon, the ambulance is on the field, driving his lifeless body to a local hospital. NFL players are known for being big, strong, and tough, but on this occasion, they were seen crying, mostly shook up and unable to play. So what exactly medically happened to Damar Hamlin? Doctors revealed that the technical term is commotio cordis, which is when a blow to the chest causes an R on T phenomenon. To have such a disastrous effect, a person has to get hit exactly in the right spot, at exactly the right time, in between heartbeats, to make the pump of blood through the circulatory system not happen. Once one heartbeat is missed, the body's blood pressure instantly goes to zero, and a person has about 6 seconds to live. This explained why Damar had the strength to get up, but then just immediately fell back down. We've seen evidence of this before. Have you ever noticed that when a person gets defibrillated, right before they get that jolt of electricity, there's a light beeping or buzzing? That happens because the defibrillator needs to sync to the person's heartbeat rhythm to administer the shock to make sure that the electric shock doesn't come at the wrong time and causes an R on T phenomenon, which, as we saw on Monday night, will have a disastrous effect. Basically, Damar Hamlin died on the field that night. The fortunate thing is that the NFL medical staff did demonstrate that they were ready for such an emergency. They got to him early. They administered CPR. They restored his heartbeat and got him in an ambulance where they could keep him breathing with the assistance of machines. In the days to follow, doctors reassured the public that commotio cordis shouldn't prevent anyone from playing sports since it is such a rare event, that it's something usually associated with baseball when a hitter is hit by a pitch more than with a tackle in football. That said, watching the experience was psychologically devastating. To know that all it takes is a random hit at just the wrong time to literally kill even the most healthy and strongest of men sends shivers down NFL fans' spines. Many were left questioning whether the game is even worth playing anymore. Let us know in the comments how you feel. Would you let your kids play football? And remember, there are plenty of other scary things that can happen to you, as you will see in another one of our videos.